Hello and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United are at Wembley. We've not beaten Hull. We've lost our unbeaten record. But thanks to Paul Pogba, we will be going to Wembley. We won't be playing City. We'll see you later in the end of the season because Manchester United will be contesting their first cup final under Jose Mourinho at the end of February, like I said, at Wembley against Southampton in the League Cup. There's a smile on my face because I'm happy about that we're going to go to Wembley and I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's great that we're going to get some silverware, but I totally understand that there's a lot of frustration out there and we do need to address it. I'll be blunt, I thought Paul Pogba probably should have been subbed before the goal. I don't like those sort of people who everyone's being honest saying why does Pogba stay on the pitch? Then he scores a goal and people troll Twitter to try and say, delete your comment when you were negative about Pogba. I thought Pogba had a better second half, but people were right to say that he didn't have a great game up until the second half and the goal. And even then it wasn't fantastic after that. We need more, but we needed more from a collective team as well. And I'm certainly not going to isolate or highlight Paul Pogba as the issue. I think the whole team struggled tonight. We sort of predicted it. At times, watching the game on the watch along with us, it was a bit like a Louis van Gaal game because we're sort of like talking about other stuff when the game's going on because it was a difficult game for United. We're 2-0 up. I mean, Hull needed to beat us by 3 goals to win it, and that was, you never felt that Hull would be capable of doing that. So if we felt it, yes, the players are they're paid a lot of money, but they're human beings at the end of the day. They didn't need to approach that game as if it was a normal 0-0, whether you've got to go and score and win a game and go toe-to-toe. Toe-to-toe in a boxing match, 0-0, you go and win it. I suppose it was like a boxing match in the way that we've already got a 2-0 lead, we're better than you, you've got to knock us out twice just to get a draw, 3 times to win it, you'll never do that. And they threw a few good punches, they knocked us down a couple of times, but we came back with the Pogba goal. But I felt that Manchester United had that in control, but it was difficult to watch because it was never going to be entertaining because we were just seeing the game through to get to Wembley. And, as fans, we want to be entertained, and I get that. The performance in general, would I have any issues with it? Yes. I think players should be performing slightly better than they did tonight, but I think in all fairness, again, we're not in a good, rich vein of form. I think this unbeaten run is sort of skews some people's vision on what Manchester United are at the moment. I think December until probably December we were pretty good. I think January we've limped through results, but it's been hidden by this unbeaten run. We've dropped a lot of points. Liverpool at home, we were poor, we saved a point. Stoke last week, we were poor, we dropped 2 points, but we were unbeaten, so we make a big deal out of that. Tonight, we go to Wembley, but we were beaten. Drawing games, you stay unbeaten, but we want to win games, and we've not been playing that well. I think that's the bigger concern for Mourinho. We've not been playing that well recently, and he needs to reverse that trend. Where did it go wrong tonight? I think we lacked any pace in the team, especially from the defence. And that sounds odd when we had Rashford and Lingard, but they were isolated way too much. I think Rojo and Darmian as defensive fullbacks doesn't suit Manchester United and makes us quite boring. We was happy to give up a lot of space to Hull. We were happy letting them come all the way up to our penalty box. We missed Valencia tonight. We missed a left back like Valencia so that we can bomb forward and we've got pace and dynamism going forward. But we definitely missed Valencia. Lingard got isolated a lot in the first half and it made him look like he had a bad performance. Second half he was slightly better, but Darmian, what does Darmian offer? I mean, is Darmian going to be this Azpilicueta sort of clone? Because Azpilicueta can actually go forward. Darmian just doesn't offer anything going forward. I thought he was a bit off his game again tonight. That's where the issues were for me. That's where the issues were for me. The fullbacks just didn't quite work and made us quite a defensive setup. Away from that, other areas, well, Pogba didn't have a good first half. The midfield collectively wasn't great, but the second half they quickened it up again. Herrera was probably my man of the half for the first 15 minutes of the second half because he suddenly was more dynamic, pressing, moving the ball quicker, and that started. When Manchester United move the ball quick, we cause people problems. When we're slow, a bit like under Van Gaal last year, we don't cause people problems and we're quite easy to play against. And we moved the ball quicker and it caused a few problems. But we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that we did lose the game 2-1. And that's not encouraging because the one thing I would say, and I want to move into this area, is that we didn't win the game with probably virtually our strongest team. I mean, arguably, the only players that come into Mourinho's strongest team are Mkhitaryan, probably comes in on the right. Valencia comes in at right back. That's probably it, isn't it? Because he would play Zlatan up front. It would be Pogba, Herrera and Carrick. It probably would be Jones and Rojo and, maybe put Darmian at left. I don't know. My personal Manchester United best 11 would have Martial on the left. It would have Mkhitaryan on the right. It would have Luke Shaw at left back. But the Mourinho 11 at the moment isn't a lot different. And there is a slide in form at the moment, and we need to be very, very careful because we are still in 6th in the league. People are talking about, well, winning the League Cup, the FA Cup and coming 5th, is that a good season? No. It isn't a good season. What's a good season for Manchester United is not being in the Europa League next year and being in the Champions League. I would sacrifice the League Cup, the FA Cup, the Europa League, anything to be 4th. I want to be better than that. I want to win trophies and I want to be in the top 4. But we've got to be in the top 4. We've got to be in the Champions League. That's where this season stands and falls on failure or success. We've got to be in the Champions League. And I would look back on it at the end of the season if all we've ended up with is the League Cup and say, why did we use our best players in the League Cup to win a trophy that, you've won a trophy in your first season, but it should have been the last priority. Why have we used our best players in that tournament when you could have been using, he goes on about Twansibi being close to the first team. He goes on about Fosu Mensah not going on loan, but we don't see any minutes from them. I think Sunday, in an odd way, is probably our most important game in the current run of games, because if he doesn't pick Fosu Mensah, if he doesn't pick Schweinsteiger, if he doesn't pick Martial, if he doesn't pick Luke Shaw, if he doesn't involve Twansibi, you start to think, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because you can't just keep pick. It's all right picking your strongest team, but we picked our strongest team tonight and they were poor. We picked a team last week and they were poor. He's got to mix it up. It wasn't exciting when that team news came out tonight. It wasn't exciting. The exciting aspects of it were Rashford and Lingard because they haven't been playing much recently, and it's exciting to see them sort of players. But the lineup wasn't exciting. I don't think the players were excited. I think it was just quite a lethargic, lazy game. Unfortunately, I just don't think Hull City were ever the sort of team that could beat us by enough goals to knock us out. But that performance somebody said on the watch-along, that performance today would see us get turned over by somebody like Chelsea 3 or 4-0. A decent team would have destroyed us today. But having said that, you can only play what's in front of you, and football's odd. I remember Manchester United a few years ago with Sir Alex, and we had Rooney and his plump and Ronaldo, and we went away in the FA Cup third round, I think it was, to Burton, and they forced us to a replay. And people go, well, that's football. If we turned up at that game thinking we were going to win it 4 or 5-0, but you've got to go and put the effort in to win 4 or 5-0. If you don't go and put the effort in, you'll end up getting beat, and we got beat tonight because, for whatever reason, I think we felt that game was won. And in hindsight, we did win the game, didn't we? But we probably would have expected a little bit more. G Scratchman says, I support Manchester United. Why is anyone questioning this? Don't know what that's about. Hope Merseyside were watching, says Max. Well, that is, we've ground out a loss to get through to Wembley, and that's the bottom line, isn't it? But I'm happy about it. Like I said, I'm smiling at the start, and I'm happy that we're going to Wembley. I'm more excited about Sunday than I was about this anyway. I felt it was a foregone conclusion. And let's not forget the referee. I mean, we must bring that into it. It didn't matter much tonight, and I don't think we were as angry as we have been in the past. But the penalty that Rojo gave away was softer than soft. I don't think it was a penalty, and I was arguing at the time. But then to sort of compound this feeling of being victimised by referees in the FA into the second half, Chris Smalling's fouled in the penalty box in a one-on-one situation, way worse than Rojo was, and it's not a penalty. And it's the consistency from referees at the moment is to be consistently bad against Manchester United, especially around penalty decisions. And it's frustrating. It's not as frustrating because we were already 2-0 up, and if we'd blown that game, it would have been our own fault. But imagine that was 0-0 in a league game, and we were on the end of them decisions, we'd be going apoplectic. We wouldn't be very happy. I couldn't get my words out. And that is worth mentioning, even if it's only for a minute or so. It is worth mentioning because it is an injustice. But Eamon Conway, shocking performance tonight, Mark. I will go through the performances because I think it's always interesting to do it. Don Freestyle saying we'll cost ourselves top 4 if we continue like this. I think we are in a bad run of form at the moment, and he needs to address that. I'm going to say this, I've said it a few times on the watch along. Look, I don't agree with players being publicly outed. I don't like it. I hated it when Van Gaal did it to Valdez, and I didn't think Valdez did himself any favours at United, but I don't like it. I didn't like it when he did it to Luke Shaw. I didn't like it when he did it to Chris Smalling, and I really don't like it that he's done it to Anthony Martial. I tell you what, he needs to sort this Anthony Martial problem out, because we are crying out for him in the team. We need Anthony Martial in the team, and he needs to sort it out, whatever the issue is, because I don't like it being public. I don't like him being told he had a bad performance when he didn't against Liverpool. He had 5 players on him, and it's all right publicly having a go against players and basically isolating them and putting the spotlight on them. But then when you pick your best team, it doesn't perform. You think, well, he can't do much worse than that today. That's my thoughts on that, and I think he needs to be careful. Bailly will be back, which is important. Definitely looking forward to having him back. I think we need some sort of no-nonsense passion in the back 4, because I think the defence is looking a bit frail at the moment. The goal for the second goal for Hull was just shocking defending by Rooney and Rojo to allow a player to be totally unmarked like that and get the run on him. The fullback is is shocking, but it is what it is. We go to Wembley. My scores for the players, I thought De Gea had a good game. I mean, this is telling, isn't it? De Gea was one of our best players, which shows you again, it was a very Louis van Gaal-esque performance today. De Gea in goal, I give him an 8. Darmian 5. Jones got beaten in the air when they hit the bar, 6. Chris Smalling 6. Rojo 5. I'd give both fullbacks a 5. I don't think they were very good. Carrick, I give him a 6. I'll give Carrick a 7, actually. That's not fair. I'll give Carrick a 7. He just did what Michael Carrick does. He played the simple ball and he ran the midfield. So I'll give him a 7. Herrera, I'd give him 7, an 8 in the second half, but 7 overall because he wasn't good in the first half. Again, Pogba, I'd give a 7 for the goal and a better second half. Lingard, 6, better in the second half, but poor in the first. Rashford, I'd probably say Rashford was our outfield player of the match, 8. I think he played really well. Zlatan, 6, 7, 6. Yeah, he's Zlatan Ibrahimovic and he needs to do more than that. And Rooney I'd give a 5, and Fellaini I wouldn't give anything because he was only on for 2 minutes. But yeah, not very good. Not very good. But the positive is we won that game at Wembley. We march on to Wembley, not Wembley in the first leg. We go to Wembley. Fantastic. Great for Manchester United. But there are issues to redress. Get commented below. Give us your thoughts. Thanks everybody for watching. We hit 65,000 subscribers tonight, which is a positive, as is going to Wembley. But I totally and utterly get that this is not a fantastic performance for Manchester United. And it raises a big picture because that is... wow, I've never been... This is fantastic. I've got to read this comment. And Og Swan says, Mark, you're just a Carrick and Rooney hater. Put him in his place. The second one isn't even true. But to call me a Carrick hater, that's a wow moment, that is. That is a wow moment to call me a Carrick hater. Fantastic. Obviously a new viewer. I love Michael Carrick, as people who know who watches this show for the last 2 years. Thanks everybody for watching. Drop a like on the video. Please subscribe if you are new and get involved. We will be back at 8:30 tomorrow night as well. Lots to talk about. We'll be previewing the Reading... no, we've not Reading out. We'll be previewing the Wigan game tomorrow, so that'll be quite interesting because I want to really delve into the Martial, Fosu, Mensah, and I think Mourinho has got a lot to answer about the youth, whether it's playing our youth or whether it's the youth players that are always getting publicly slated. The youth needs an arm around its shoulder. I think he's getting it wrong there. But a bigger picture for tonight is we did play our best team, more or less our best team, and it didn't turn up again. That's arguably 3 games in a row. Certainly Liverpool and tonight. So, but we're going to Wembley. There is a positive. Thanks for watching. Speak to you all very soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And I'd suggest avoiding Twitter and social media because there's probably people trying to wind us up that we lost. But the bottom line is it was always 2 legs and we are going to Wembley.